All right, so the next topic is the beats is whack, Vlad. That's the next topic. So you guy was on Vlad TV. He always calls him Vlad for some reason.
Vlad the Impaler.
Vlad the Impaler. But he was talking. He was
That's
asking.
where he took his name. He took his name from Vlad the Impaler.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
I learned
Do
something.
you guys know Vlad was a DJ?
I know he used to do the mixtapes and
Yeah, like people. I don't know if people
apparently.
know that he was a
Yeah.
DJ on the West Coast. I think he's from either Seattle or like
Oakland. I thought
Northern California or something like that.
Bay?
But like he
immigrated from Russia.
Oh,
yeah. But I'm not gonna. I don't. I'm just saying
From
he
Moscow.
actually did DJ. I mean, he
DJ.
did like Ghost Ride the Whip and that whole DVD. Like
Yeah, I heard he used to drop the DVDs and the mixtapes and stuff like
yeah,
that, like
so,
Smack and stuff.
I don't know
like
if people
that, so.
actually people know that.
Yeah,
I
but
see
he
people like, was he ever even a DJ? Like, yeah, he was actually. That's why he's called DJ Vlad. So.
he was interviewing you guys and just asking him a whole bunch of questions. But some of the stuff I hadn't heard any Wu members say, but I found out it was a consensus. You know, for the majority of those guys, were talking about like beats and the process for Wu-Tang Forever and how certain people got shelved and the couple of things that stuck out to me. One is he said RZA's production was trash after Wu-Tang Forever. Now, Lone and I have talked about B-, C+ Wu-Tang production. I'm going to hold that. He also said that he was mad when they made the first album and then everybody started to do solo albums. Then he branched off to start working on stuff like Killer Army, Sons of Man. He was basically saying all those groups was trash as well. Like he was dissing all the RZA side groups.
I mean, shit.
And he was like,
Is that a secret though?
but he was like basically just pulled away from the core. Like the core couldn't shine because you were focused on, you know, what was the joint that the Killer Bees Volume 1, like all those types of projects. He was focusing on those joints.
I think Wu-Tang did just fine.
I mean,
And I think Ghostface did just fine. I think Method Man did just fine. Inspector Deck has had a long career. Raekwon's had a long career.
He said
all the really good Wu members have had a really long career.
He said that RZA also fought them on using production outside of his. So he really, really did. Like he didn't want to.
Didn't
have people come
Mathematics
in.
do a lot of stuff like that
Yeah.
for them too? And yeah,
He was like part of the crew, kind of though.
Yeah.
He was
There was
like
some corny shit going on. I mean, to you guys' defense, I mean, if you've seen Of Mics and Men,
I haven't
Which
seen
I-
it kind
not.
of goes into a lot of what he's talking about. And there are situations that happened that shouldn't have happened that would have made Wu-Tang probably more official than they are today. I mean, you guy wasn't even really like or try to be one of the standout MCs. I mean, he made it off the strength of being a part of Wu-Tang. He dropped, one album?
he's had
Golden
Arms.
Yeah, I think he's had
Lone
one,
loves
maybe
Golden
one
Arms.
after that.
Okay.
I'd love to read his book though.
But I mean, he was the street dude. You know what I'm saying? Him,
One of
him and
several.
Method Man, right? Him and
Yeah.
Method Man was like real cool.
Yeah,
But he was the more of the street dude between those two. It was more like, well, if we do this, we can
Yeah.
make this money legally and whatever, whatnot. But I mean, to his point, it definitely did start getting watered down once everybody started kind of going their separate way. And that was actually cool of RZA to allow them to do that, honestly. Even though there was a little backlash, little pull and push here and there, but for him to allow them to do that, I mean, everybody knows what happened with like the Locks. They had to petition to get off of like Bad Boy and shit. So I mean, I don't know.
Man, he was really, really upset. Like he was upset, dog. Like he said the W was whack.
I
All
like the W.
All the albums after Wu-Tang Forever was trash. So
The W is my last favorite Wu joint.
Yeah, mine too.
W is I like the W. I'm a like you guys are talking about Little Brother and all. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, we're all Wu-Tang heads, but I've ridden pretty hard for Wu-Tang since I was about 15 years old. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
So here's my thoughts on that. So none of us could ever know as much as you got. He's a Wu-Tang Clan member, so that's obviously
Facts.
his opinion, and you kind of have to, you know, you have to, that holds weight.
It does.
A lot of weight, right?
It does.
But you also kind of have to take into mind what Sean and you guys were just saying too, like how Ghost's career he's done very well for himself.
Very well.
For a long time, it's had longevity. Deck's career's had longevity. Meth's career's longevity. Like all these other folk, they did other stuff. You know, like.
Yep.
Furthermore, like if RZA was really forcing people to, like, you know, Method Man didn't seem to have that problem.
Yeah, I mean, he
You know?
said some of the other people felt the same way. He didn't drop names, but he was like, this was the vibe amongst the people throughout the group and in the studio sessions. Like, they used to butt heads a lot. To your point, though,
It's 9 dudes too.
it's 9 people, 9 personalities.
Yeah. So it's just it's super interesting, man, to hear that perspective. I can't wait to watch this documentary. I've read, you know, a lot about them. You know, it's interesting, man, just how they all came together and but yeah, it's just funny. I knew all these stories were going to come out one day.
Dude, like when you think
You
about
guys
it,
look up Ghostface owing, supposedly saying RZA owed him a bunch of money years ago.
oh, word.
There's so many little stories like this about. Look up you God being afraid that they had cats like across the street from where he lived, like waiting for him to come outside of the house and shit.
Word.
Look up some of this. It's wild, dude. Like
Wow.
the FBI has a file on Wu-Tang.
That's crazy. That's
They
crazy.
was fucking with him in the movie. Well, not the movie, in the documentary.
Mhm.
There's a scene where Raekwon's going off about them trying to arrest one of their managers and telling him he needs to go down to the precinct and press charges on the cops that kept fucking with him.
Yeah.
That's tough.
If it's not FBI, it's something very. It's like this secret. I mean, it's not secret, but they were being. I'll put it this way: they were being investigated as a criminal organization
Damn.
that stretched not New York to Ohio, to like Youngstown and places like that. It's
Because RZA has family or something in Ohio, right?
something like that. Some
Yeah.
of those cats do. Ghost does, if I'm not mistaken. Ghost got shot. I mean, like all these dudes were. A lot of these cats were street dudes, man. Like
I mean, you guys talked about how he was in and out of jail, and he had just got out when it was time for them to.
Most of them had just got out when they was like putting that shit together.
Yeah, like he was the last one to, just get out so they could go.
I don't think he was the last one.
Well, he said the way he told it was he got out of jail right around the time they had their party, the signing and performance for the album.
Okay, yeah,
And he was lucky enough to get on there to be able to do a couple verses. So if you think about that, man, like their story is crazy. If you talked about the careers that went on, like you know how many classic albums are under that umbrella?
you know how hard it was to try to sign 9 dudes to one label. Like Loud, I think, is what they ended up signing to as Wu-Tang Clan.
Mm-hmm.
There's no bigger cult following in hip hop than Wu-Tang, is there?
I don't think so.
It'd be hard to find. I'd be hard pressed to beat that.
Not commercially.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
can find a Wu-Tang T-shirt in Walmart right now.
What about
Target.
Underground? I don't think there's any.
I mean, they span both.
They're bigger
though.
than Tech. I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. I was
Bigger
just say
than
like
who?
Tech 9 and
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Have to
cats
be.
like that are
Yeah.
huge, dude.
I mean, the
Like,
Wu-Tang symbol is everywhere.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's an iconic
It's
symbol.
a stamp, man. Yeah.
There's
for
people
sure.
that rock that symbol that probably have never listened to a Wu-Tang album.
And I will, like, to this, like, I'm gonna wear Wu-Tang Clarks on my wedding day, dude. You know what I'm
As you
saying? Like,
should.
I just fuck it. It's still good.
yeah.
I still listen to. I mean, and you catch things, man, maybe that you didn't catch before. There's so much layer. Like, there's so many layers. It's. They did something in hip hop I feel like nobody had ever done before.
You guys said they were one of the first people to, it's all in the same interview, but to make the street rap, like to actually make the street rap cool and turn it into successful music. And I'm like, damn, I thought about that. And I'm like, he might have a point there.
Well, the thing I think that made them stand out is that it was unpolished. So I mean, you still had street cats in hip hop.
Yep.
I mean, you had 𝐁𝐿
I was gonna say G-Rap probably came before. He's kind of the father of that
Yeah.
gangster, that more of a mafioso gangster style than like a West Coast gangster style. It's a different.
Right. You
it's
had
a
those
difference.
too. But Wu-Tang, their style was unpolished, and that's because, and I'm speaking because I watched the documentary. RZA was speaking about how when he got his first record deal, they made him sound a certain way because he went by Prince Rakeem at one point in time. Right. And they were trying to market him as this
we love you,
sex symbol, like an LL Cool J type dude.
Yeah.
He's that wasn't him. Mm-hmm. So his whole goal was to make sure everything that came out was authentic to the person that was spitting or who he was affiliated with.
Yeah.
And he wanted everything to pretty much be unpolished. And that's what he sold, and that's what made them hot.
I agree, man. And you guys' words, they hold a lot of weight. You know what I mean? I'm not going to hate on anything he's saying. Like, that's that's been his experience, man. You know what I'm saying? So, like, can't front on that.
He seemed genuine, too, man. Like, he seemed very frustrated when Vlad, start bringing up certain shit about their past. Like, his whole demeanor changed, especially about the RZA part. Like, it was multiple segments about him having fallouts with RZA. To your point about the stuff that you said you can Google, it's like he was going down that line, like about just so much stuff that we don't see or we didn't see or we weren't aware of.
Here's the last thing I'll say about this, because we could sit and talk about Wu-Tang for hours,
sure.
right? Why so reliant on RZA?
RZA.
Why is his success seemingly potentially? Maybe I haven't seen the interview, so maybe it's not that deep.
Right.
But why is he tying so much back to? I understand he's the producer and all that, but
sounds like he had
others
control.
don't seem to have a problem with the way. I mean, maybe some have
RZA and
over the years.
brother pretty much had control over what was going on within the group, and I think this happens with every group. I don't think you can name one group who has stood the test of time, who are still cordial with each other. Like everybody.
Dude, that's 9 people.
Yes, that's 9 people. But
most
you have
people,
groups,
it's like 4 folks. That's
exactly, and they're not.
Sure.
Look at New Edition.
Yeah.
New Edition are now touring as Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike.
Right.
Because
Ralph and Johnny
own the rights. How does Johnny 𝐿, for one, own the rights in New Edition?
Yeah. We could talk about that too. That's crazy.
Real quick, just to finish it. The point I was making is like RZA had a life to live too, and like you read his book and you read like some, like it's. I don't know, man. That's a lot to carry. You know what I'm saying? I just don't see, like, he didn't stop Method Man from going and making movies and doing shit with Redman and doing all that. You know what I'm saying? He did. I don't know. I just feel like that's a lot to put on one person to carry. We're supposed to carry the career of like 8 dudes.
Yeah.
9 dudes if you count 𝐀𝐿𝐴 plus Killer Army and all these other groups.
Yeah, and the Sons of Man and the rest of them.
Like,
jump in there, Lone.
No, I agree. I don't know. I haven't seen the doc and I haven't seen the interview, so I can't really chime in on any of this. Really, I mean, but if I don't know if he was if he had control over what was being released.
Yeah.
Then maybe I could see, or who had studio access or something. Or something like that. Maybe I don't know.
Does he imply that he took advantage of that he was taking advantage of people? Just out of curiosity in the interview?
Honestly, man, you to me came off as someone that watched as everybody else did solo projects, and he wasn't as aggressive, I guess, pursuing his own. It kind of was like, well, he mentioned, he's like, I was waiting on beats. And it's like, he came off as a person that was just kind of sitting around waiting on RZA to do something while everybody else was proactive in their own solo careers. That's how it kind of came off to be.
But you also mentioned, real quick, that RZA wanted to produce everything, right?
He did say that, yeah.
So if that was kind of, RZA produced most of those other projects, though, didn't he?
The branch off projects, he had his foot in a lot of those. Executive
Liquid Swords.
Yeah,
Cuban Links, Iron Man.
He had beats on.
I know Inspector Dex had a variety of producers on it, but RZA was on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he had his hand in all of that. But to me, I got the feeling of you guys was kind of sitting around a lot too, like not being that proactive for himself.
Yeah,
and he was like, by the time we wrote Forever, he was like, I was waiting on beats. By the time we wrote Forever, I had a whole bunch to say, meaning that he had been writing rhymes in between 36 to Forever. But I'm like, yo, do you know how much stuff came out between 36 to Forever?
Yeah.
And like you were just like writing rhymes instead of, trying to do more features or come out with an album or whatever.
I'd like to hear
so it's kind of 50-50.
Master Killer's point of view on some of this stuff. Because
he's
talking about
probably the most quiet member
right.
of Wu-Tang.
Right. I'd be curious to hear what he has to say as well.
Yeah. However, again, respect you God's opinion. He's a member of Wu-Tang and he's experienced. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's interesting to hear that stuff about like your favorite group, though. You know what I mean? It just, you know, and to Terry's point, it's hard to keep 4 people together, let alone 9.
I mean, we saw
everybody can't
rest
be a
in
star.
peace, ODB, man. For
everybody can't be a star. I mean, out of everybody that's sitting here and everyone in the room, who I was really checking for you guys?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Lone loved Golden Arms. I knew Lone before y'all did.
I do know some people that like the Golden Arms album.
No,
but
that's ignorant.
In general, who I was checking for you guys?
No, I mean, I didn't care about you God's music. I mean, I didn't, and I didn't really care for Master Killer's too much. Every once in a while, he had some stuff I really liked, though. Can't lie. But you God was just always just the random guy with a verse that I didn't know what he was talking about.
I ain't gonna front. I used to laugh at Black Shampoo. I did. I used to laugh at Black Shampoo. Now
I didn't.
I didn't like the ladies, the kind of soft song on Wu-Tang Forever.
You hear the water being going in the bathtub and all that.
Yeah.
Leather.
I mean,
shout out to Leather Sponge Rubbers. That's what's on the song. Leather Sponge
throughout
Rubbers.
the entire catalog, everybody. There's a whole bunch of questionable kind of like rub your head type moments on the Wu-Tang. I mean,
coconut oils.
It's a different one.
Yeah.
But I don't see. The thing is, I don't hate him. I just never looked for him though. You know, it's just kind of like.
I mean,
I never cared if he dropped.
He set off Mr. Chessbox. Didn't he have the first verse on that? Raw, I'm gonna give it to you. No, wasn't that the first verse on that?
Yes.
Roll like cocaine straight.
That he set that mug off.
Dude,
though.
he's not a shitty rapper at all.
Yeah, he cool. He's cool. It's cool.
He's not. I mean, he's just, you know, he's just not as good as all the people he was around, unfortunately.
I mean, it kind of
goes,
are
like supreme MCs.
It kind of goes to what you're saying about Fonte. Fonte has that charisma.
Yeah.
You know, so you're in a group with Method Man and Ghostface and Raekwon.
ODB.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? ODB, nobody rap like fucking ODB.
Yeah.
And then you have You God, which is kind of just like doom.
That's a really good point. That's really what it was. Is this
maybe that's what it was.
He had the lowest amount of charisma of probably about everybody else. Him and Master Killer probably.
Yeah.
You ever notice Master Killer always ended his verse on like 3?
Yeah, it was real weird and awkward.
He was like the OG of not rapping on beat and not giving a fuck.
Yep.
Yeah.
like even on Triumph, he stopped rapping and then like it was like 3 seconds before
the saga continues.
Ghostface came in.
Yeah.
Olympic torch.
Flaming.
We burn so. What do you say?
I'm not even talking about You God.
No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Defeat.
Yeah.
That wasn't even a bad verse from You God, but I mean, when you got Inspector Deck setting it off the way he set it off, I mean that could go down as one of the best opening lines out of any rap I've ever heard.
I'm glad you said that because I had this conversation. I want to run this by y'all. I'm glad you said that. I said, now this is just me. I said Cold Hard's verse on Hey. Cold Hard's verse on Hey. I'm not comparing it to Deck. I'm not. That's not where we're going.
You had ODB verse, talking shit.
No.
And then Inspector Deck.
Cold Hard's verse on Hey is one of the coldest first verses of a hip hop song that I've ever heard. It set Hey off.
No.
Everybody in this room know that verse.
I mean,
don't do that.
Hey is a mood in general.
But you know that verse. You don't?
Shit.
How's the verse go?
Don't do that.
Come on, man.
No, I feel you. That's
you remember? You know that. He set that joint off.
But the Inspector Deck does start Triumph.
I mean, that's all time great. I'm just saying.
Let me ask you guys this question though: what verse is better, that one or his verse on Above the Clouds?
Triumph. I think Triumph, man.
Yeah, that's
Above the Clouds is cold.
They're
though.
close, but I'd have to give Triumph too.
Above the Clouds.
I really like Above the Clouds a lot.
Yeah,
he killed that.
Incredible.
He killed that.
Yeah, that's a really good song.
Dude, there were so many people. I mean, like 𝐀𝐿 Shout out to 𝐀𝐿, man. Like Heavy Mental is an incredible album.
I was never a huge fan of 𝐀𝐿.
RZA Beneath the Surface.
Slept on.
I love that album. It's great.
Slept on.
Just cold.
𝗀𝐻 is another person too. Like I like everybody, but I could never really get into 𝗀𝐻 all that much either. I don't know.
Liquid Swords?
Yeah,
Shadowbox
like
is
that
one of my favorite songs.
That one and both that one and Beneath the Surface, where he rapped with all the names. What was the song?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I can't
Tommy ain't my motherfucking boy. Is that what you're talking about?
I can't call the name of the record. I know what you're talking about.
A whole bunch of pop references or something.
Yeah,
something. But 𝗀𝐻 was another one where like 𝗀𝐻 and RZA were similar, but RZA had a lot more personality to me. Like RZA was just weird.
So did you like Bobby Digital more than Mystery of Chess Boxing?
Huh?
I mean, you know what I meant.
Liquid Swords?
Liquid Swords?
Yeah, Liquid Swords.
Oh, man.
Hey, Bobby Digital and Stereo is
You like Bobby Digital more?
Not Bobby Digital and Stereo. Hold on.
That's what I'm talking about.
The first Bobby Digital?
Yeah, that one.
That album was cold.
Yeah,
Not Digital Bullet.
I'll take not Digital Bullet. Here's why I like Bobby Digital and Stereo, because he did some stuff production-wise that were just nobody had done before on that project.
Was cold.
The track where the tempo changed throughout it, that was groundbreaking.
Holocaust, that track is
He let
ridiculous.
Holocaust have his own song, essentially.
It's insane. But that album is, I'm sorry, yeah, that album is really good, but I don't know, dude. I was locked into 𝗀𝐻 early. Like, I'll say this: my I guess favorite members have always kind of just rotated over time, though. Too, like I love it. I think Inspector Deck's incredible, man. Like, and just kind of always was kind of slept on.
That's one of my favorite albums.
But all this �czarface shit is ill. Like, he is still spitting. You
Even
know what
on
I'm
the Pete Rock joint.
Yes.
What was that? Daytona.
Daytona 500.
That's Iron Man.
Yeah, that's Iron Man.
You talking
I know
about,
what you're talking about.
What's that called?
Soul Survivor.
Yeah,
True Master.
True
That's
Master.
Right. Yep.
What was the album called? Soul Survivor. Yeah.
Soul Survivor.
That
What's
album.
the one with the game with Raekwon is also very.
Yeah,
dope.
that is. I think that one had Big Pun on it.
Yeah. Big Pun.
Yep. That's a good ass.
I got that at the crib on wax.
Deck was my original favorite
member
first to start off, and then it turned into kind of Ghost after that, but probably continued to be Ghost.
Oh yeah, you said Ghost forever now.
I mean, that's what it's continued to be.
Ghost is probably the most consistent out of the whole crew, as far as having good, likable content. Because like even Meth is probably the most famous out of the group, and that's because he's an actor.
He is getting them acting checks though.
Right. I mean, he was in The Wire. He had, of course, How High.
He was in The Wire.
He was in Belly.
How High was a cult classic.
I think his first look was when he was. Remember, he was the thief on Martin. Remember that?
I don't remember that.
He broke into. I think he broke into Martin's crib, and then they ended up going to jail and doing a lineup. Y'all don't remember that?
I don't remember that episode.
Yeah, he broke into Martin's crib. He was a thief on Martin.
Have you guys ever seen the film Black and White?
No.
He's in that. I believe he's in that as well.
But
you know what I'm talking about, Jay Moore? Yeah, Mike Tyson was in it. Yeah, Mike Tyson's in it. Raekwon's in it.
Yo, speaking of Mike Tyson, which one of y'all said, was that you? Talked about the podcast?
No.
That was you?
No, that was Terry.
He got into a fight with Big U. I mean, not Big U, but who
Wack.
I think? Wack 100.
Yeah, that's all. I didn't really read up on it or anything.
Okay,
I just kind of heard that they got into a little altercation on a podcast.
Mike still got them things. I don't think that's a wise move.
His name's Wack 100.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know who that is.
He was the
Fair
games manager. I don't think he still is he?
I don't know, but it's a lot of gangster ass cats on the West Coast that got whack ass names. No pun intended. Like
Wack 100 did knock Stitches out cold.
Yeah, I mean he deserved it.
Yes. Oh, of course he deserved it. But there's like video, like one shot.
Word.
Cold.
But they all got like some weird ass names.
Stitches is a really stupid name, by the way.
I mean, he's got Stitches tattooed on his face.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
So it makes sense.
Nah, that's stupid.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I don't have anything.
Yeah, that's stupid.
What if in like 20 years, 30 years, yeah, it'd be like 30 years or whatever, you go in to like talk about your IRA.
Uh-huh.
And you go to sit down and somebody turns around in a chair and it's Stitches, and he's there with all of his tattoos, ready to talk about your investments.
I want to be like.
Would you be ready for that?
I'm not ready for that. I don't even want to talk about that. I'm not ready for that.
Just think about that.
Yeah, I know, right? It's a scary sight.